ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast, where we talk about movies casually. This episode, in particularly, it's going to be extra casual, right, Nathaniel?
That's right.
Extra casual. I am your host, Adam Schwartz. Joining me today is the Sandpiper himself, Nathan Gingrich.
Oh yeah, that's not my name. The
What up?
Sandpiper, Piper. Hi, how's it going, man?
Good. We're episode number 2 of the night.
Yeah, but I feel as fresh and new as I did a while ago.
Me too. You know, our pre-pod conversation really livened me up, and I'm ready. I am ready. Also joining me today is Popcorn Tyler. How are you doing, Popcorn?
Good, man. Not too bad from a couple hours ago.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad. Little to nothing has changed. Yeah. I'm glad.
Throwing on the Gunars
Would you say
tonight.
you're doing?
I'm excited to be here.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say you're doing better or worse than you were about 2 hours ago when we started recording the first
I
episode?
think I'm in a better mindset.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I needed that little talk we just had to kind of liven up here a little bit.
I agree. I think that was very necessary.
Yeah.
And last but not least, it's Silverback Gorilla Blake. What up, dude?
What's going on, man? Yeah, and for listeners, for the context on that, and it was recorded. I don't even know if we'll edit it in there.
I'll probably
conversation.
I'll put it in at the end. Maybe we'll see.
Does that mean I get to be the polar bear Nathaniel?
Yeah,
polar bear Nathaniel. Sure.
Yeah, but for the listeners, the context on that, what Tyler said, he needed that conversation earlier. We got into an interesting conversation about a silverback gorilla fighting a grizzly bear and what would win. We kind of broke even on the pod of 2 people thinking a silverback gorilla would win. The other 2 gentlemen thought a grizzly bear would win, and we went into a long and depth conversation
Guess
of each
who
animal's
is who?
abilities, strength, attributes to figure out who would win a fight. I went with the grizzly bear, or excuse me, I went the gorilla.
Yeah, me and Blake are gorilla. Ty and Nathaniel are grizzly bear.
It's grizzly bear all day long.
110%.
Yeah. Well, next on the
send us your thoughts, viewers, listeners. Hit me on Instagram. Put it in the Gmail. Comment on YouTube. I really want to know. Tweet it at us. I want to know what your thoughts are.
Anything.
Grizzly or gorilla?
So that takes us to last but not least. Or did we introduce Nathaniel yet? No, we did.
Yeah, we got Nathaniel. Yeah, we got them all.
Oh, okay.
We're all here. We're all chilling. This episode is gonna be. It's not gonna be a typical review episode. It's gonna be one of our more casual episodes. It's gonna be a compare and contrast here of the 2 movies, 2 horror movies, the Purge and The Strangers, who have somewhat similar concepts but very different execution, as I'm sure we will get to in a little bit. The inspiration for this kind of came from when we were figuring out what movies we want to watch in the month of October. We wanted to load up on horror movies, get as many in as we could. And so I mentioned how I really wanted to watch The Purge at some point, regardless of if we reviewed it or not. And Nathaniel was like, oh, you should watch The Strangers as well. And I was like, well, why don't we just do both of them? And so here we are. Does that sound right, Nathaniel?
That sounds right to me, man.
All right, cool. How do we want to structure this? We haven't really talked about this at all. We probably should have. Do we want to do like one review or talk about one movie first, talk about another movie, and then get into the kind of the comparisons?
Yeah, I think we should do Purge, Strangers.
Purge, Strangers, both.
Yeah, compare, contrast.
Yeah,
Sure.
I agree with that order. I don't have too much to say on the Purge.
All right. A second thing we should probably clarify: are we going into just full spoilers the whole time, or do we want some non-spoilers parts? I feel like we should just do full spoilers the whole time.
Yeah.
Spoiler warning, ladies and gents.
Okay,
gals,
we'll go full spoiler
fellas.
warning. If you haven't seen either of these movies, we're gonna probably spoil both of them. So if you don't want either of them spoiled, go ahead and maybe just come back after you watch. that sound fair? I mean,
Yeah.
Fair enough.
yeah. All right. All right. So we're doing Purge first, then.
Yeah.
All right.
So should everyone kind of give their background on this going into it?
Sure. Yeah, we can do that. You want to go first, Nathaniel?
Sure. I remember when this movie came out. I feel like this was right in my generation of horror, where like I just think like most every kid that I knew was just like, oh wow, this is a new interesting concept. And it got kind of shared around a lot. I feel like it was one of the ones that went really quickly viral on Facebook when Facebook was still kind of the big thing. And I just remember being really interested in the idea, and from the trailers really expecting it to be really a freaky home invasion kind of thing, or home invasion style thriller. And I thought the mask, like kind of what Blake was saying earlier, I think it was off pod, but the masks I thought were really going to kind of play a bigger part in it
For sure.
than it did. But yeah, and then so I finally a few years later got to watch it, and then I had not seen it again, I think, since then, or maybe one other time. So it's been a little while since I came to this guy. But
cool. Blake, or actually, you know what? Why don't you just popcorn somebody, Nathaniel?
to
you, man.
how about Tyler?
I this is a pretty good film. I think it was one of the first like home invasions that I'd seen in a really long time. Kind of like what Nathaniel was. Kind of like that for my generation, our generation. But honestly, nothing is like super crazy about it. The acting's okay. It's actually shot pretty well, I think. I honestly think my favorite character is the young kid. Not the young kid, but the leader of the people that are trying to break it.
The lead antagonist.
Yeah, the polite leader.
I can almost agree.
Yeah, I think he's probably my favorite character in all this. Other than that, I still think it's a pretty good film. It's definitely easy to watch. It's easy to get into. But yeah, I like it.
Blake?
Yeah, this is as you guys know, I'm an avid horror guy, like I said every time. So yeah, I saw this. This came out my senior year of high school. I saw this with a few friends. Great idea. I don't really think the first one is executed well. And I think that's why they kind of went on to make a second and a third where you're outside of one individual home and you kind of see the purge for what it is. Excuse me. But yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on it. I'm not too fond of this movie, to be honest with you guys. Great idea, like I said, but I don't think they really hit home. I do think they hit home on it on the second and the third one, though. I think the second one's probably the best film they have. The third one's pretty good.
There's 4, isn't there?
Yeah,
I have not seen the first Purge. That's the name of the 4th movie, I believe.
The first Purge. Okay.
Yeah. So haven't seen that one. Whatever, it's cool. I like Ethan Hawke and Sinister in this, but that's kind of my 2 cents on it. Not really gonna shit on it like American Piccolo, guys. Don't worry about it.
It's not American Pickle level bad.
No, not at all. But yeah, what about you, Adam?
I would agree with pretty much everything that's been said. I think it's a fantastic concept. Actually, I can get into a little bit of my background on the movie. This came out in 2013, so I did not see this in theaters. I remember seeing the trailers for it and stuff, thinking it was a really cool concept, but was gonna be way too scared to actually watch the movie. And then I've seen all these sequels come out since, and I've been like, okay, this seems like a cool concept. You know, they're going outside more, and then it's like Purge election year. It's like, oh, it's getting political, and then it's first Purge. Like, these concepts are really cool, and they're things I'm really into. But like you said, Blake, this first one doesn't execute as well as I had hoped. I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it's still pretty good. But it's I mean, we'll get into this later, but when you're comparing it to a movie like The Strangers is a far superior
For sure.
movie as far as horror goes.
For sure.
And I will say I haven't seen any of the sequels to The Purge, but I fully intend on checking all of them out because I'm very into this concept. So
yeah, I like. This is not. I have a lot of issues with this movie. I don't particularly think it's very good either. But it's everything that you've said already. That the idea is way more interesting than it being a home invasion, or if it is going to be a home invasion, it's like they gave the director, or it's like they wrote every jump scare into the script, and none of them make sense. And like I also was thinking in this one, it would have been really interesting if they didn't do the music at all. Like if they just let it play way more natural. I thought it would have been way more interesting, which I think they kind of get into more in the second one. Which I think the second one's kind of considered the best of the series, if I remember.
I think you're right.
Frank Grillo.
Yeah. And that's just someone gets caught outside in the Purge, which is just way more kind of interesting. It's just I think they tried to write so much into this first movie, and I think they just didn't quite have the budget to make the movie that they wanted to make, or at least it feels that way in some way. It covers a lot of ground. Like it explains like everything. But I think Ethan Hawke's really wasted in this movie, and I think it's impossible now to watch this movie and not see Cersei and the wife. Too.
Star-studded cast, by the way. Ethan Hawke and Lena Headey. I was not expecting it. I saw Ethan Hawke when I was looking up the movie. I saw that he was in it, but then Lena Headey showed up, and I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?"
And there was this really weird couple of years too, where like every writer in Hollywood kind of saw autism as a superpower instead of like a mental disability, and so like there was just always a little brother who was just a little bit socially awkward and didn't, but was really into toys or was a genius in his own way, and like every show that or movie that came out for a weird period, this was definitely part of that still. But
I did not particularly like the little kid in this movie.
I think it just feels very paint by numbers, very kind of like this is your jump scare moment, and like build up, and then this, and build up, and that. I think if you wanted to do a more effective version of this, you would do it as like a Last House on the Left, or like a Straw Dogs or something, where they have to like battle back and do the unthinkable to the people coming into them. But
yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you, Nathaniel. This movie doesn't do anything. It's like you talked about before with horror. You're constantly looking for movies that do something new, or evolve or provoke horror, or fear new ways and stuff like that. And this movie doesn't do anything special, in my opinion, outside of the concept.
So,
Blake, where you landed on this?
In terms of
you'd like to give.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly, guys, I'm just not too fond of this film. Like I said, the idea is super dope, but for them to dumb it down to a home invasion, it doesn't do the Purge justice.
And I think they completely waste the masks and everything about that character.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. I also think it would have been more interesting if they had ended it with like the neighbors are coming to kill them, and then but like just as it's just about to happen, you hear the Purge siren go off, and now they have to like stop that. Otherwise, like we were talking about this earlier when Tyler and I watched, like I'm kneecapping each one of those guys before they leave.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm letting those people like. I mean, I guess I'll let you live, but like,
I would let them
remember why you don't fuck with me.
Yeah, 100%.
You move by the next year, right?
I don't know. Maybe you like send your kids off, and then
I think I come back the next year. I think you're right. I think I move by the next Purge, but then I'm going hunting, man.
Then you're going hunting.
I'm going hunting. I'm gonna leave them some cookies on their doorstep as I leave the neighborhood. I'm gonna say, see you guys around.
It is one of those concepts that immediately asks you, well, what would you do? Which is such a great thing in horror that horror I think does a lot for you, and it is a fun way to engage.
Yeah.
But unlike the really great ones, like something like a Saw or a Descent or something like that, it's just a little bit too broad in some ways. But
I will say, I mean, I want to talk about some of the good things this movie does, because there are some cool things, and we keep talking about the concept, and I think it builds on that concept really well, because not only is it a cool concept, but they have some cool things in the movie that I really, really liked. So it's the fact that the dad sells security systems, like that's kind of a cool thing. Like obviously that would be something that would happen.
As a salesman, I can tell you that all felt very real.
Very real. Yeah. Does it work? I mean, I don't know. I think it works. Like
it's mostly for show, or even the competition that he has to
be number one.
What he's gone to sell. All this stuff and the kind of lengths that he's gone to get there, that all felt very real. I think it felt like Ethan Hawke, he was just kind of saying the lines to me. It's not like he gets
wasn't a lot of emotion behind it.
But yeah, he gets by because he's Ethan Hawke, but it really feels like he was given the script that day or something like that. When you see him in his other movies where he's
and we lost Nathaniel.
He gone.
Oh, he's back.
Other movies you see Ethan Hawke in: Sinister, Training Day.
Yeah, and I think he's great. I think
hold up, we can't hear you very well, Nathaniel.
Okay.
You sound better now, bro.
Am I good now?
Yeah, you're good now. You're good now.
I think he's particularly good when he's allowed to be real emotional. I think and I think this movie, if it was shot interestingly, I think if this movie was shot almost more realistic, maybe almost like a found footage, if they really wanted to do it that way, that would be
tough though.
Interesting too.
That would be tough.
Right.
Yeah. Some of the other things I think the movie does well is things like the news broadcast, where it's talking about these are all the good things that are coming from the purge. Like crime is down, unemployment's down. In logic that makes sense. But then it's you also have the other side of it. This is creating huge class divides. Isn't this basically just the rich who can defend themselves preying on the poor who can't? And isn't that a problem? And these are things that I feel I don't know. I just thought it was interesting how these are real concepts, or a few things that I feel like if this were real would play out in similar ways.
Right, those would be the real problems. Right.
Yeah, and so they have a great core concept, and they know that, and they have a lot of aspects of the movie that build on that I really, really liked. And that's why I'm so intrigued to go on to the sequels, because they have the one where it's Election Day or the first Purge, and I'm very intrigued to see where they take that kind of stuff. But I thought that's great.
I feel like on this viewing, the scariest thing to me was I could almost feel like we are near to the place where something we would elect something like this into existence. And but what was even more scary to me was that even it shows how quickly people would adapt to that new normal. And how easily that becomes something very very normal to them.
So and I like where the movie starts, right? And I don't know what purge this is, right? I don't know how long it's been going, but you can take away from the movie that obviously it's been going on for some time. It's really normal to everybody, right?
It's been I would say the impression I got was it's been about 10 to 15 years.
Right. And you could tell it's very normal. The guy's driving down his street right in a pretty nice affluent area, right? And the guy's outside sharpening a machete. You know what I mean?
Such a bad shot.
Guys out on his front porch, in the yard, he had to move that grinder out there.
Right.
Yeah, that was
so it's just funny to see stuff like that. But yeah, I think they hit the purge idea home early, right? Where you just kind of see how for some people And I think they even talk about it like on the news, right? When the news segment's going, right? For some people, this is a chance where you can kind of cleanse your sins or whatever they're going.
Yeah.
But yeah, they pretty much make it completely into a political stance, which which for today's society, right? This is
climate.
pretty much how it would be, right? In today's climate. Like, well, I'm sure there are a lot of people.
Ooh, that was a bubbly hitting a mic. I think that is a shot if you are playing the
Yeah, sorry folks.
But yeah, that's just kind of it. I mean, there are some good scenes though. The obviously when the younger purgers kind of get there, right, and they're like, hey, please get this guy's kind of like a leech, right? Please let him out of your house. We don't really want to harm you. But you know what I mean? It's like, don't negate us from our right.
Don't
You know what I mean?
block our right to purge is what he says, or something like that.
So yeah,
and I agree with Tyler. That main antagonist, he's great. He's very charismatic in a way that he needs, like in the way he needs to be, as far as like kind of being a little crazy. You don't like it?
On this viewing, I just felt like they don't know what to do with him. He's like, he's like, it was like a political thing. He's like, we're educated, blah, blah, blah. He's got the mask. Then he doesn't have the mask. He has the mask for like a total of like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I wish
he kills his friend.
Yeah, but even that, and I don't. This is something that I noticed that they do in this, that they almost all the shots, the gunfire, the effect is digital, like the blood splatter or anything like that, and it's really noticeable. I thought that was just like, it just took me out of it in some ways. And like he's like doing rhyming at one part, and then he like doesn't really rhyme again, and then he does, and then he's and then he's just like, there was something else that he did too. He was just like something either like super over performative or something like that, where it was just like it didn't make sense for what they were wanting to do. But I did like that he killed the friend. That was a good trademark and everything like that. I just think he lacked that thing that makes an evil character like that so iconic to me.
Sure. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's anything like iconic or anything like that.
Yeah, it's no, Heath Ledger performance.
Sure.
But I actually think that feels like the character that he's the only one that I feel like actually like stepped into it. I feel like everybody else was just kind of reading lines, and
even Lena
Headey, crazy to him.
Yeah, Lena Headey too was kind of just phoning it in with Ethan Hawke. She wasn't anything special in this movie.
Yeah.
She played she played concerned mom number 1, basically.
What about the daughter's boyfriend? Like, what do you guys think?
Oh, that was so dumb. That was so dumb.
Fuck that kid.
Stupid,
that was so stupid. What does that kid think's gonna happen after he shoots her father?
I'm just gonna be okay with it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for killing my oppressive father. Thank you so much. Let's get married now. You dumbass.
Yeah, that rewatching that is just frustrating. It's like, this fucking blows.
Oh, I saw it coming too. When he stopped taking her clothes off and was like, "I'm not here for you. I'm here to talk to your dad." Like, no, you're not. Wait, what's going on here? Yeah, so stupid, so dumb. Also, can we agree that it is 100% the kid's fault that the father's dead?
For sure.
He should not have let that guy in the house. There was no reason.
Yeah, easily.
To be honest with you, okay, so let's say this. To be honest with you, I don't even know if your child should be able to have like access or even know how to work.
Well, he didn't. He watched his dad put the code in.
Okay, you're right.
At least that's what I think about. Yeah, he watched his dad put the code in and he memorized the code.
But even then, like maybe have a regular pin guard shield on there, like they have at every.
Yeah, like knowing you have
like a
child,
fucking thumbprint scanner, maybe.
Or some sort of alphanumeric code, not this
sure.
a 6-digit pin.
Like, you got a little kid in there. You know what I mean? Like, that's just precaution you should probably make. Like, hey, honey, let's make sure our child can't open this shit on accident.
I think what's the crazy thing that they don't like address at all is that the people that are inevitably attacked and like killed that buy his systems. Like that's a very awkward phone call the next day every year that he's getting of people just like, are we insured against this? Like,
Yeah.
Hey, he's dead. He doesn't have to worry about it anymore. It's more on
Well,
the-
I speaking of insurance, it came to like my like thought process. I was like, does his life insurance policy cover this? Like, does she gonna be okay?
there's so
Because like
many
he
problems
clearly
with
makes all the money.
with the Purge as an
Yeah.
idea. Like,
Oh, he's
there's different time zones. What do you do about state lines? What like how does this work here?
Right, yeah. And
Or
they
what
don't
about
address
Alaska
stuff.
or Hawaii? They're just out there all by themselves. Like, are there guys that start in DC at 7 p.m. and try and follow the sun across the states? Like,
and travel all the way to California.
the problem is that the
Continuous
world is
purging.
instantly more interesting than anything that this one story could be. And like, I just think there's so many more interesting ways they could have told this story too. So it's just a failure on both those parts, unfortunately. And I don't think this guy's a particularly good director. I think every jump scare is telegraphed 5 minutes ahead of time.
Yeah.
I think there's literally not one moment in this film where I'm actually scared. It's like
here's the
watching an
thing
action
is
movie to me.
sorry.
No,
I'm sorry. I
that's
didn't
it.
mean to interrupt you. I should. You keep saying like all these jump scares were like seen ahead of time, but none of them were memorable to the point where I can't really tell you a single jump scare that happened. Like, I don't remember.
And
I don't
by
remember
that
any
I just
specific
mean
one,
the music
really.
gets loud and something.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not.
appears on screen.
Yes, no, I agree with you. I'm
Like
just
the
saying,
sister's face coming on the camera,
Yeah.
or when the guy comes around the washing machine, or where the fuck he's hiding behind in the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of just audible ones, but unlike in like a Hereditary where it actually applies to the plot,
Right.
it's just a loud noise basically.
Also, Ethan Hawke makes a decision that they're gonna fight instead of instead of giving the homeless guy back to them. Why would you not give the homeless guy a gun? Like,
that was my first question. It was like,
Yeah, why do you untie him?
Right.
Oh, and then
I am give him a gun. Say, hey, all right, you know,
dude, you're riding with us at this point.
it's
You know what I mean?
dumb how he comes to that decision too, where he's just like, no, I am a good white capitalist. I will fight. Like,
Yeah, this movie drives me insane.
There's
dude.
a lot of problems. But overall, I liked it. Would you guys?
I was gonna say, yeah, well, like it's exactly like you just said. Like, there's definitely a lot of problems, and I think we're gonna end up doing this between the Purge and the Strangers. Like, we're just gonna tear this thing apart. But like, I still think that this is a watchable movie, and it's still an okay home invasion movie with some pretty good gore, a really cool concept, and I'd still definitely watch it.
I agree. Would you? Let's go around. Let's go around really quick. Would you guys recommend it? I would recommend it. I liked it.
Man.
But I'm not. I can also see why you would not recommend it.
I think personally, you could just be like, start with the second one.
Yeah, that's what my gut's telling me.
Sure.
Okay.
I think it's like,
having not seen the second one, I can't really attest to that.
and I
but-
think if you look at what Purge has become, it's more like they almost build more off the second one than they do anything with the first one. The first one's almost just kind of ignored nowadays, anyways. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I'd still recommend it, but like, you're not missing anything.
Sure.
And the second one's way easier to recommend. It doesn't actively make me hate it.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, I think we've said a good amount on the Purge. Do you guys have anything else you want to say on the Purge alone?
What's up, Noah? Seeing you in the background there making photos.
Noah is.
No, man, I don't got anything extra for that.
Noah's also my brother. So hi, Noah.
I will say though, if you do care to see a horror movie with Ethan Hawke, please watch Sinister instead of this. I think you'll be more pleased.
That also made it sound like your roommate is my brother. That's not true. My brother's just also named Noah.
Yes. We should probably clarify. Yeah. All right. Then let's move on to the Strangers then, guys. I think we'll put them on the entry list at the end. Is that cool with you guys?
Yeah, we can run through this.
Strangers. Different home invasion, but similar in some ways.
Mhm.
Different, different, almost completely style of film.
Yeah.
I would say.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So,
I would say right off the bat, The Strangers is the much better film of the two,
Without a doubt.
without a
Agreed.
doubt. Yeah. Just as far as a sheer horror movie, as far as a home invasion, as far
Mhm.
as how into it I was, and
Right.
all that
Suspense and
stuff.
everything.
Suspense.
so
It gets you.
You sent us a text of just watch The Strangers and an emoji. Was that
And like a
this one
like a
got to me
scared
kind of thing?
emoji. It got me, guys. It
Yeah?
got
Yeah.
me good. It got me good.
Yeah.
They
That's
took
good to hear, dude.
Yeah.
It did. This is one of the horror movies where this is one of the movies that I would say if I watched as a kid, I would crap my pants, man.
Yeah, funny story about that too. And I think I said it on pod before that the first time I saw this was actually like at a sleepover with friends, and we
Oh, really?
watched The Strangers. We watched what did we watch? The Strangers, Vacancy, and The Hills Have Eyes 2. Like we pulled like an
Bro.
all-nighter one time in like middle school.
That's an all-timer right there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
but
such an iconic like 3-pack of just like a few very distinct years in American horror.
right,
for
yeah.
a
Those
while.
all got to be 2007 through like 2008
Yeah,
or so. This was
yeah.
probably the 2008 year. But yeah, The Strangers that's one of my personal favorites for sure. I just because of that night alone, and I have a soft spot for all three of those movies.
Vacancy's a good one too.
It is. I was like, that's another one that I got a soft spot for. Where anytime it's on TV, like I'll watch it for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, Adam. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Yeah, no, this just had a lot of what gets to me as far as like just a lot of jump scares, but very effective too. Because you'll have a lot of jump scares and that you can see coming and coming, but there were some in this movie that just caught me completely off guard, or there were some times where there are those jump scares where like it's building to something, but then it never ends up
Right.
being something. And they kind of do that to just kind of ratchet up your tension a little bit and be unpredictable, if you want to say that. But there were times where I thought that was going to happen, and then it was just jump scare, and that scared me even more because I was expecting it to be the opposite. It didn't happen a ton, but it happened a few times where I was like, okay, there's probably going to be a jump scare here. It's probably going to be a fake out. They don't fake me out, and I appreciate it for that. And I think that serves the purpose of the movie. I mean, this was just constant. Since the first knock, I would say it was just constant, like,
Yeah.
shit.
Is Tamara here or whatever her name was?
Yeah.
Tamara, is Tamara home?
She's like, no. Are you
God.
sure?
And
It's just
the-
creepy. It gets you every
I
time.
would say,
yeah.
it's so creepy, and the
creepy.
creepiest part about that scene is the lighting, where she unscrewed the light bulb a little bit, and you can't see her face.
Yeah.
Right.
That's something
And that
I mean, it's
scene-
effective enough that I just checked to see that our door was locked, and Tyler and I are sitting right here.
Yeah.
So
And that scene gets you because at first, right, you see him kind of try to turn the light on and it doesn't work. And you're like, oh, maybe there's the lights out. You know what I mean? And then he realizes, like, no, it's been intentionally unscrewed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can't turn it on. Then boom, that escalates the tension. And actually, I have a few fun facts on that movie as well. So there's a handful of scenes where Liv Tyler's specifically the ones while what's the boyfriend's name? I think it's Scott.
James Hoyt.
James, yeah.
James Hoyt.
Scott
Sorry.
is his real name, correct?
yeah, he's the
Yeah.
actor, also from Underworld.
Gotcha. So yeah, where James goes to the store to get her the cigarettes, right? And there's this scene, and there's also other scenes on record as well where some of these strangers are in the background. Those are basically just all improvised. Like that's not necessarily planned, right? So the scene where she's in the kitchen and she's like looking, I think she's trying to get a glass of water or something of that nature, and you see Baghead like come out the bedroom, like the master
for the
bedroom
first
and
time.
stand there.
So
Yeah,
That's the famous one.
Yeah. So yeah, that's not
too.
even scripted. That's just kind of the villains
That's dope.
walking around. Yeah, and that just adds so much more suspense to it for sure. Once you get
that scene was
that's super
so
cool.
fucking like not even scary as far as the jump scare because it's just that scene was shot so well too. Where she was on the
not a jump scare.
No,
it's
that
completely
scene is
not
just
jump scare at all.
creepy as
Yeah.
it's just
fuck.
creepy,
Just
man.
eerie, bro. Like,
And the way
Yeah.
not
the way
knowing
Chad
that like somebody's watching you.
Mhm.
Ugh.
and then the way he just kind of backs, or actually, you know what? He doesn't back up. He it cuts and then he's not there. But
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
almost
man.
remember him backing up though.
yeah, oh man.
Yeah, Baghead is
yeah.
a scary guy for sure.
The movie plays with lighting really well. not just that porch scene, but just in general. I mean, when you're looking outside into the woods and stuff, it's not clear what parts are lit all the time. Some parts are more lit than others, or the garage scene, I think it was, or the garage or shed or whatever, where she's on the radio.
Yep, shed.
Yeah, just a lot of very good lighting, small stuff. And it's not lighting in a dramatic sense where it's lots of lights. It's just darker light, like adjusting the levels here and there. It's very small but effective. I don't know what else you guys have to say about this movie. Nathaniel, you wanna take the floor here?
I'll talk for a while, getting a patented Nathaniel rant.
The patented Professor Gingrich lecture.
I do really like this movie. I think it's we kind of talked earlier about, like, when I look at horror, what do I look for? It's I do look for things that are new, but I look, if things aren't necessarily new, I look to see that they either make a commentary or are excellent examples of an established genre. And I think this is an excellent example of an established genre, of the home invasion thriller, and the fact that its horror is so much not based on creep factor, it's based in tension. Just, I think, is amplified throughout the film to, like, that next level, that nth degree, where every little thing just builds and builds. I love the tone of the film, of the setting of the film, where it just kind of starts in scene. Basically, you aren't given a lot of context, but you are, if you figure it out as you go. I love the kind of weird nature of the story, and that it's a proposal that hasn't been accepted, and so you're having these characters start from such a weird emotional place already.
Yeah.
It's so destabilizing as a viewer, but it's so real and raw. That's such an that's an interesting way of approaching, or of coming from the home invasion thriller, where, because we're so used to that becoming from a place of stability, where it's like, oh, the happy family's moved in, or they're new to town, but they're generally a good family unit, where this is like kind of this destabilization instead. I think that's really interesting.
There's also only 2 of them, because I feel like a lot
it's
of
a very
invasion
small movie. I love
very small scale there.
Yeah, everything.
It's this terrorization.
Of it, it's just the 2 of them, and for a little bit, it's just Kristen, because he goes to get this.
I love how it plays out almost in real time in some ways.
A little bit.
The presence of the 3 of them is very inviting, and like, that's such. If you were to look at the posters of the Purge and the Strangers side by side, they're both very, very similar figures, but the way that the film treats those figures is so different, where, like, the Strangers look has become iconic so quickly that if you see them on the side of the street, you know exactly who they are. If you took that Purge mask, I'd say most of the general public don't recognize that, or they would there's other masks that are in later Purge films that you associate with
that are more memorable, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, just a really great movie. Not without its fault. Very, very
not without its faults.
Some interesting things. Tyler's and I viewing experience on this one, I think, was a little bit different.
Super different. I had our friend Ryan over, who's like our biggest advocate for this entire thing. So shout out Ryan, love you, bro.
Fully?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I was like, hey, you should come hang out. And he came and hang out. And then Nathaniel got home from work and he was like, oh shit. So like we had kind of like a bro moment, and then we were like, dude, we should totally watch The Strangers. So we booted it up and everything. And what this ended up being is, because we have all seen this before, we actually all kind of like really got out of like the whole horror funk, and we were just talking about all the ways that we would do this differently to
get out alive.
this, right? And there's so many, and so that was kind of our viewing experience. So we kind of trashed this movie throughout the whole thing, but it is absolutely so much better than The Purge in so many different ways.
So not gonna lie, I did something kind of similar. Just because, like I said, this movie was getting to me.
It forces you to ask that question. Like but the thing is, you totally identify with them too. Like you understand the choices that they make as well.
Oh, yeah.
But you do get like you go, okay, if I'm in that position, what am I doing, kind of thing. And like Tyler said, it's only because we have seen this movie so many times, and it is that rewatchable that you even get to this point now, and like are doing it from a place of good nature instead of like The Purge, where I feel like you're just kind of like, well, that's just dumb. Like,
right.
Not to go into our comparison too early there, but yeah, there's also a point which was kind of one of my favorite bits in this, where I think James is getting in the car and is backing out to try and make a run for it. And one of the strangers throws a rock at the car's windshield. And the car's windshield, it takes a chunk out of the windshield like the size of a softball.
It puts a straight hole through it.
It just blows a hole through this windshield, which means this lady must be throwing like 135 miles an hour.
Bro,
and like, should be pitching for the Yankees rather than killing people.
Aroldis Chapman turns out Aroldis Chapman, third stranger.
Like they must have just been throwing straight gas through this windshield.
That's funny.
Just a hammer.
If I was in that car, I'd just be like, all right, you know what? Good throw, man. Good throw. like
you just have heat marks or scorch marks next to your ear from this velocity.
Oh my god. Man. Yeah, I don't like a lot of the character choices that were made during the film. As far as like the actual decisions that the characters were making. It's also the fact that they didn't have many options.
Right.
So I can't blame them too much.
Yeah, I'm with Adam on that. Like you said, the choices aren't the greatest, but for the circumstance, like what are they really?
What else are they gonna do? Because I was like, why are you guys running? I kept like I was saying, like this movie was kind of scaring me to the point where I was like, I was doing one of those things because I was watching with my friend, and I was doing one of those things where I was like talking out loud, just kind of like calm myself down, or like like point fun at the movie, just trying to like get a sense of like holy shit. And so, but like, I just kept calling out the dumb shit they were doing, but at the same time, it's just like, why? Like, what else are they supposed to do? But they kept going outside, and I was like, just stay in the house. But at the same time, they kept getting in the house. So I don't know. It was just,
you're almost a sitting duck, just sitting there, like waiting to be butchered if you sit
in
the house.
They kept toying with them. They had so many chances to kill these people, and obviously that wasn't their goal. They just kept tormenting them.
Yeah, I would have won this fight though.
It's the fact that they established that they have access to the inside of the house early in the film. So much of the horror is based off that, because that means they take the phones. They slowly use that to take away everything that these guys would use to contact someone or escape this. That's how you're left with nothing left but to fight back when that doesn't go well.
Really quick, can we get a quick little rest in peace for Mike?
Yeah.
Poor Mike.
Who is Glenn Howerton, who is Dennis
Sunny, right?
from Always Sunny.
Yeah.
And so if you've watched that before you watch this, it will be very hard to take his character seriously.
And that's funny because he kind of comes in as like a comedic relief, right? Being a fairly funny guy, right, from a funny TV show. Then he just gets like fucking slaughtered. Like
just gets
he's in the movie
shotgunned to the fucking face.
Yeah.
That was a great scene too, because as he's walking down the hallway, you see
it's almost like Juno,
hooded man in the back, and he's got the axe, and you're like, oh,
but like,
what's it gonna be?
I made a pretty good point when we were watching this. Like, the thought that went through my head is like,
is my best friend the guy that's been fucking around with us, and he just took his like mask off to say like, oh my god, dude, I'm here, like, you know.
Yeah, could very well
So
that reminds me. I was thinking back to the Purge because never mind. I'll talk to you about it later. Never mind.
be.
Sorry. I just wanted to make sure I didn't forget it again.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I did kind of pick up on this that I found interesting, doing some research, is that this is loosely based on real events,
Oh
right? As
yeah,
they kind of say in the beginning
they
of the
they
film.
Yeah.
put that disclaimer in the beginning.
Right. And one of the events is actually based on it. It's funny doing some research is that the part where they get somebody knocking on their door asking for somebody who doesn't live there. That's
Oh
actually
yeah, I think
something that happened to the director
yeah.
as a child, or maybe like in his adolescence or teen years, right? Where that was kind of one of those things that happened on his neighborhood, and they end up and he ended up saying anybody who did not answer, all those homes were then vandalized.
Yeah,
And that's
broken
kind of how
into.
he got that idea of is I forgot what the daughter's name or what the girl's name they were looking for, but that's how he went
Mara.
with that idea. So that was kind of interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, I
But
think there's another movie that shares that with too. I think want to say it's Nightmare on Elm Street, or it might have been Last House on the Left or something. But Wes Craven tells a story that like he like woke up one day and there was a guy staring at him in through the window, and
Mhm.
that's partially what like inspired that too.
I think it's one of the Nightmare on Elm Streets.
Yeah, like,
I
and that
remember
was like
reading something
the
about
look.
that.
The look Freddy Krueger was kind of based off that too,
Mhm.
and that kind of like action stuff. It's funny
Yeah.
those kind of things that just do come across in real life that do just kind of scare you. Like Attack on Titan. That was the creator of that like ran into someone who was like really really drunk, and they just like couldn't control them, and they kind of like realized how that could be scary if that person like just doesn't know who they are and wants to hurt you, and that's kind of what they base the Titans off of as well. So
Hmm.
I guess you find that a lot sometimes in those
Yeah.
movies. Cause
Well,
they
how do
speak
you
to
guys feel about the motives of the three masked intruders, right? Where finally in the morning, right, where it might even be at night. Or actually I think it's in the morning once they wake
It's in
up.
the morning.
It's in
And
the
Liv
morning.
asks, she's like, hey, like, why are you doing this? And then the blonde girl is right, because you guys were home. You're the only people who answered the door, basically, is her response. How did you guys feel about that?
I thought it
I
was
like it.
great.
I think
Yeah.
it's yeah, no, it creeps me out even more because just like, oh
Mhm.
shit, you know.
These
I
are
think we talked.
just like deranged people.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. They're doing this at random, like yeah. I think that plays into it even a little bit more, because we talked about during High Tension how like I didn't feel like there was no reason for that guy to be invading their home, and it kind of
Right.
bothered me that there wasn't.
Mhm. That's
And
exactly why I
even
asked. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
even
great.
and even though that the reason they're not, the reason isn't given until the end of the movie, it doesn't matter to me. Like I kind of not I don't know. The movie was doing enough for me where I was like, they're gonna get to why they're doing this, or and they touched on the fact that the characters themselves kept asking like, why are they doing this? Like, why are you doing this and stuff like that. They kept trying to figure that out themselves. So it didn't bother me. That I liked the reason. I felt like it served its purpose.
Yeah, evil as kind of banality is always very frightening to me. That like just boring people do evil things just because they want to see if they can is such a weird and horrifying take on humanity sometimes. Um, and I think it again it kind of it goes to those same fears as High Tension or as well. I think it's interesting if you kind of plot the plot if you plot the storylines of home invasion horror. You have things like in the 70s with Michael Myers and Halloween, where the killer is this unstoppable force, this loner, this person that's always been bad that invades the community. And then you go to things like High Tension, where now it's a killer that has no motive and it kind of invades the house, and then finally you get to the place of the strangers where it's the killers are the people around you, and their motive is just they're bored or they're curious. And now how that gets kind of goes from something so very broad down to something so very narrow and realistic, and that's kind of
it's so raw. It hits you.
Why it gets under your skin at this point.
Yeah, I even like at the end where the masked people are leaving, right? And the two boys who are like the church boys, kind of, right? And then she's like, "Hey, can I have one of those pamphlets?" And I just love her tone. The blonde girl, she has the best tone when she speaks. It's almost like she's not even alive. You know what I mean? How she speaks.
It's super monotone. It's very
and she's
boring.
like, "Hey, can I have one of those pamphlets?" Right? And he's like, "Well, are you a sinner?" She's like, "Sometimes." And it's even that little line is just creepy,
I like the little kids in there too, especially when you hear that phone call at the beginning and stuff. They sound so just overwhelmed and
for sure
realistic again in that way.
Cool. Do you guys have anything else to say on The Strangers?
No, I guess if we're just like comparing stuff, I would just say the biggest.
Well, I was about to say we can go into the compare and contrast, but
right,
on The Strangers itself, are you guys good?
No, but certainly a better film, dude. That's
definitely a better film. Yeah, so let's get into that. Then we can start comparing the two. I think all around, are we all gonna agree that I mean, what does The Purge do better than The Strangers? Because to me, The Strangers does everything. Yeah, to me, The Strangers does everything.
Yeah,
The Purge does, but better, and it does more.
100%.
So I mean, I don't know how much there's a compare and contrast here. I mean, we could talk about. I mean, so as far as the antagonist goes, I would definitely say that The Strangers have the more intimidating and more. I mean, just all around scary antagonist with the masks, because the masks the mask was a big motif for The Purge, as far as like the marketing stuff like that goes, but it's immediately ruined when the main guy takes his mask off.
Right.
That kind of exactly like him.
It's not exactly like him, but yeah, it's very similar face structure. It's kind of similar. So I would say in that regard that The Strangers is
the Strangers, you're just in you're in a worse situation, right? I mean, I think it's scarier when you're in a situation like that and it's not legal. You know what I mean? As weird as that sounds. And like Nathaniel said, that they're coming off obviously a rather lackluster or disappointing moment in their relationship, right? So they're already kind of swallowing that, and then it's like, well, holy shit, and we got somebody trying to break into our house and kill us, and it kind of puts those characters into a really tough situation. Whereas The Purge, I mean, you're seeing these characters put in a tough situation, but they're still so prepared for it. And in The Strangers, like they're blindsided by it, right? I think it goes back to even earlier, as we said earlier, that inept protagonist, right? Where that's really big on horror, where the people are put in a situation where they don't know what to do. Whereas in The Purge, the people are in a situation and they're ready for something like that, right? They have the security system, they have the weapons to be able to fight back. And I think that's just why The Strangers kind of holds up to it.
Do you think Liv Tyler lives in The Strangers?
What's up?
Do you think Liv Tyler lives in The Strangers?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say no.
That I think she does. Because
I think so too.
That's a big knife.
Well, no, I think she does because we know from the story at the beginning that it's based off true accounts, which I don't. Again, loosely is the thing, but I'm saying it in the context of the film that we know that it's based off true accounts, and then we know that they are that originally she didn't accept his proposal, but at the end of the movie, she's wearing his ring. So if someone only saw her afterwards, after they had died, they would just assume that they had actually gotten engaged, and not that they wouldn't know that they hadn't. Right. That was my kind of reason for thinking that she would have to live to have told.
Plus, somebody would have had to live to tell the events of the night. If it's depending on how tightly based this is on the actual events, because it could just be like, oh, this was like a tale about things that happened in Texas about a group of.
I think 100% it's that, but I just think in the universe it creates, I think you can argue that the Liv Tyler character is still alive.
Yeah, I was leaning more towards the fact that she survived, but I don't know if she really should have. I think she definitely took a lot. It's like you said, Tyler. That was a big knife, and she definitely took quite a few stabbings.
So gruesome. You know what I mean? Like the first one, it's just
screaming.
Not as big as the stupid knife that they have in the Purge too, where it's like
it's like fucking like giant knife.
Yeah. Oh, I know what your knife you're talking about. Yeah.
That he stabs Ethan Hawke with.
He stabs Ethan Hawke with. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I know. I remember what you're talking about earlier, Nathaniel, when you're talking about the villain and something over the top he does that's kind of weird. He kisses Ethan Hawke's forehead.
Yes. That was the other thing too. Yeah, where I'm just like, what are you doing?
Why are you? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you can't have all of the weird villain ticks.
Yeah.
You only get one.
You didn't even know this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
If as long as we're comparing and contrasting, I don't want to give everything to Strangers. I will say, and it's tough because everything should go to Strangers, but I do want to give the Purge some good points here, and I would say that the world it has built, that the world that the story takes place in, I like a lot, but it's a little unfair to make that comparison to say it has that over the Strangers, because that's not what the Strangers is trying to do.
Right.
But I will say between the two of them, I do definitely like. I think the Purge has a lot going for it in that regard.
It's exactly what you're talking about, the difference of exactly kind of like what we're talking about before, whereas the Purge is this new idea that is new and exciting and different, and the Strangers is just the retelling of an old idea but just done really, really well.
Sure.
And so that they are kind of at that thing diametrically opposed. But yeah, I think I 100% agree with you there. One thing I like that the Strangers does is it makes really good use of using like Hollywood actors, but people that aren't like super Hollywood attractive either. Like they look very, very normal as well. Like they could be people that down the street, and it's not one of those things like where you have Lena Headey.
Well, the Purge does the other thing. Yeah, the Purge does the opposite.
Yeah,
Ethan Hawke and Lena Headey.
But yeah, I think just really happy that we got to see both of them and take a look at some fun home invasion.
I really enjoyed both these movies. The Strangers, probably a little bit better movie overall.
For sure. How what do you think of Strangers versus Descent?
If we want to talk about Strangers versus Descent, the Strangers definitely got me more scared than the Descent.
Okay.
Really?
The Strangers definitely got to me more than the Descent.
I can see that.
I think
it's more grounded. I can give you that.
It's just more. It probably just makes you feel more realistic, especially.
It's a smaller scale too.
Because like Adam even said, you wouldn't catch me dead caught in a fucking cave. Like no way. Right. But like you don't get to decide if somebody just comes knocks on your door and you're like,
exactly.
Hey,
it's the fact that it's the fact that the Strangers is a thing that is not likely to happen to me, but could happen to me. Whereas the Descent, I would, like you said, Tyler, I would not be caught dead in that cave.
Hey, at what point, fellas, here are we going to go on record and just make a list of things that are always bad in horror movies? So, like, a record player is certainly one of them.
Okay, that was
like Insidious. You know what I mean? That happened in Insidious happens in this. In 30 Days of Night, the vampire uses his nail. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
But they're only play like 20s music.
Yeah, like, it's weird.
Who is listening to this? This is one thing I had.
Well, to be fair,
what is with these people's music?
Yeah.
To be fair, it was my understanding that this was James's father's place.
Yeah,
maybe he's into some
summer
old
home.
Yeah,
like
maybe he's into some old classics. You never know.
Yeah.
But I agree. Yeah, it's 2008. Who the fuck is
Yeah.
listening to this fucking?
Yeah, dude. Like I said, that's just
Money
funny. If you go from that to like, it obviously happens in Insidious. In 30 Days of Night, there's a really good scene where the vampire is on a record player and he uses his nail as like the needle, and it's just a very screeching sound. And I'm like, man, it's almost like whoever has a record, like you're asking to die. You know what I mean? That's almost as bad as like having a horror movie.
There's another thing that was earlier. Oh, the whole movie like is dark for way too long. They're in there and they're like, when they get back, it's like they say it's 4 a.m. and then like the whole movie happens, and then all of a sudden it's barely like 7 and the sun is coming.
Well, when the girl of the strangers first knocks, they go, "Oh, what time is it? Oh, it's 4 a.m." And you're right, it takes place, but it almost takes place in real time a little bit. But it's still, even if that's the case, it still should have been light out.
Yeah, it would have been light by 5. It definitely.
Yeah,
it's dark for like it takes place for 20 minutes.
Eternity.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's all we really have to say. I mean, I don't. Anything else? Any other points you guys really want to bring up?
If there's anything I learned, it's if you're trying to be scary, keep the mask on.
Yeah.
And if I'm in any of these situations, always go on the offensive.
Facts.
Yeah, I think so too.
Big facts. All right. Well, you guys want to put these two on the entropy list then?
Oh, hold on. Would you purge?
Oh.
Ooh, that's tough.
I think so. If I could guarantee that nothing would happen to me, yeah, probably. But like, I would be too scared, man.
Takes the fun away.
There could just be a sniper somewhere just picking people off. You know, like I would not. I would just be too scared to go outside.
I think I'm with Adam. My safe answer is I'd just be too scared.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd live in America.
I guess that's a valid answer as well.
We don't even have the purge, and I'm not sure if I want to live in America. So,
but if it's working, right? Like if it's working as much as they say, do you think other places adapt to it?
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Yeah. So.
Do you think it would work?
No
way, dude. People would run that. People would
no way.
They say all crime is legal, but they treat it like
just murder mainly.
But
everything would burn down so fast.
Or like, there'd be no credit card companies. There'd be no banks left.
Right. That's the thing. People would just start going to banks and like robbing corporations and stuff. You know what I mean?
I think everything would burn. Like if you say I have a security system, I'll just light your fucking house on fire.
Sexual assaults would be through the roof. It'd be horrifying. Like
it would just be a very dark day.
Yeah, there's more crime than just murder, man.
Like the consequences would be so bad.
There are things worse somehow than murder. that would be coming up.
But yeah, entropy list wise, fellas, I don't think these are really ranking too high. I think I'd safe to say, right, if we can speak for all of us. I like The Strangers, though. I think
The Strangers, I think, had the chance. Purge, I think we can agree, is not going very high. The Strangers, I'm interested to see where that ends up, though.
Okay.
So let's do the Purge. Let's do the Purge first.
Okay, let's kick that off. I'll go first. I kind of gave my opinions on the Purge. Looking at the entropy list right now. To be honest, I'm going. I'll go 13. So I'm putting it behind High Tension. I'd rather watch High Tension instead of the Purge.
So you want to make it 14, and then American Pickles 15.
Excuse me. Correct. Yeah, my apologies. Correct. Because we have The Descent in there as well. So I'm looking at Adam's Letterboxd. So yeah, I would put it after High Tension. So that'd be 14.
Okay.
I'm in total agreement.
Okay. Ty?
I think for the average person that I would recommend to go see this movie is probably more likely to enjoy this over High Tension.
I was going to say I'm going to put it at 13 instead of 14.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put it above High Tension.
All right, to the tiebreaker.
Do we have to tiebreak?
I'm compromising, fellas. I don't know if I can compromise.
Well, here, we'll tiebreak it. We don't have to compromise. I mean, we'll tiebreak it. High Tension.
High Tension's got a 6.8.
What does the Purge have? The Purge might actually have
has
something
a
really good, which is
5.7.
sad. Let's go.
So, like,
I was worried they were gonna have like a 7.1 somehow. You know what I mean? I was like, no way, dude.
So it looks like the Purge is slotting in there at number 14, right below High Tension and right above An American Pickle.
Also
all right.
happy with that. I feel
I'm
like
fine with that.
I
I'm
feel
fine
like
with that.
cinema.
Yeah,
I got
I'm
no problem
fine
with
with it. I was just,
I just, yeah, it's like you said, Ty. I would rather sit down and watch The Purge than High Tension. You guys know my thoughts on High Tension. It did not sit well with me. So
Yeah.
all right, now here's a more interesting picture though. The Strangers. Blake, I'll throw it back to you for the first. Actually, you know what? I feel bad for that. You always have to go.
Yeah.
Nathaniel, you go first.
Man.
I know where this is going for me.
This is another one I feel like.
Yeah, this is kind of hard.
This is another one where, like, personally, I know I would put it in a completely different place.
Mm-hmm.
But for people, and I really do feel like this movie is. I feel like this movie it really is like this really good shining example and really underrated, and I think worthy of study in some ways. Like as a film, I feel like it meets that level of critical criteria that like film snobs enjoy about it.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I'm actually gonna put it, and for like thinking again of like a wide audience, I think I'm gonna put it between Green Room and Insidious, and actually have it.
I am right there with you, Nathaniel. That is right where I was slotting that. That was right where I was slotting that. Right below Green Room and right above Insidious. Number 7.
And again, personally, I think The Descent, I vibe with that more as a film.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
I think, but I think just for people and as an entropy list, that's where I'm putting this one. If I'm looking at this as like a whole cohesive thing.
Yeah.
But again, every day, I think once we reach like a certain point, we should all redo the entropy list for our own and
I
kind of
think
share
we
that.
can. Yeah, we can do that.
We can share that with it because I think that would be really interesting to see as well too.
Yeah.
Kind of all our different ones are. We can maybe put them on our own Letterboxd or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah. I'll follow up after that, and I'm pretty much in agreement with what you're saying, to be honest. I would probably put it over the Green Room. I'd probably put it one in front of the Green Room.
That's where I was gonna put it.
I did not know this was.
But, yeah, I got a soft spot for this one though. I think this is one of the better home invasion. This is the best home invasion movie off the top of my head I can recall right now.
If I'm just like sitting with somebody and they're like Green Room or The Strangers, I'm gonna pick The Strangers every time.
The Strangers is good, man. It gets me every time.
I would pick Green Room.
I would also
little different type of horror. Probably a better film, right? Quote unquote. We know what that means. But I think, to what Tyler's saying, I think I would rather watch The Strangers.
So we have me and Nizza saying number 7 between Green Room and Insidious, and then you guys are saying number 6 between Inception and Green Room. I've already looked up the tiebreak here. The Strangers has a 6.2 on IMDb, and Green Room has a 7.0. So it looks like The Strangers is going to be right below Green Room,
which I'm still okay with.
Number 7. I am also, that's where the Green Room is such a concise, tight, very compact, and I don't know, I just really like that movie for the package it contains. And I think the Strangers has its problems for me at least, as far as the decision making the characters do and doing all that stuff. That being said, The Strangers is a way scarier movie than I think The Strangers to me was the scariest movie we have on this list so far. As far as horror and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's solely because you
You think it's scarier than Hereditary?
I can't say that.
Actually, never. Oh, I forgot Hereditary's on here.
I was
Okay,
gonna
maybe
say,
not. Maybe not.
Hereditary is the big bad on there, but I think above that, yes, you're right.
Yeah,
I think anything that you can relate to is just more scary.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I forgot Hereditary was there for a second. But yeah, no, The Strangers was very good. So I'm content with it at 7, and I think it was definitely. I think it's a much scarier movie than Insidious, but
absolutely, dude.
Yeah, but it cheats a little bit because Insidious is PG-13 versus rated R. So
right.
So yeah, I'm content with it at 7. I think I think that's a great spot. All right, well, we have a new top 10 here. It's gonna be 1 Arrival, 2 Pan's Labyrinth, 3 Hereditary, 4 Prisoners, 5 Inception, 6 Green Room, 7 is The Strangers, 8 Insidious, 9 Tenet, and 10 is The Descent. Blind Spotting out of the top 10, which I don't really care too much about, but I like because I like where Blind Spotting is at as far as like the gatekeeper. We keep calling it as far as like what defining the quality of the movie. Yeah. I'm content. This was good.
For sure.
These are some good movies this week.
We wrapped it up at midnight, fellas.
Yeah, we did. It's been a long night. Listeners, please join us next week for our review of The Shining. We're gonna go back to just 1 episode next week. But who knows after that? I actually have an idea I need to talk to you guys after we stopped recording. That I came up with in the middle of last episode. But we will consult. So join us for The Shining next week. That is not streaming anywhere that we could find for free, but find a copy somewhere, maybe rent it for a few bucks on Amazon, or maybe if you've just seen it before, just come and check out our review. Please share the podcast with a stranger, with an intruder, with a homeless man who's trying to get into your home, or a friend, or I don't know, Nathaniel, help me out here.
Gorilla. Grizzly
bear.
Grizzly bear. Maybe your neighbors. Maybe your neighbors.
An ex you proposed to at some point.
Oh yeah. Maybe on the drive home, maybe you don't want to talk. You just put on Back Row Banter. It's a bit awkward in the car. She just said no. It's kind of awkward.
We'll be your breakup pod. That's fine.
We will be your breakup pod. That's okay. It's okay. You guys will get through this. Don't worry. And if you want to follow the show, you can do so on Twitter at Banter Row. Our Instagram is Back Row Banter Pod. Our YouTube is just Back Row Banter. Please go sub to us there. And then if you want to contact us for any questions, comments, concerns, grievances, your movie reviews, or movie suggestions, please do so at backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. BlakeHolder,
what's up?
Where can the people find you at, man?
Letterboxd. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be on there logging some movies. I'm not sure what I'll do my next
name.
Review on. What's up?
With your government name.
Yeah, that's my full name. Middle name's not included in that. I can share my middle name with you though. Whoever asks, feel free.
DM on Instagram. Oh, you don't share your Instagram. That's my bad. I forgot about that.
No, well, yeah. If you want to see who I am outside of a podcast on Instagram, feel free, and we can discuss that as well. But yeah, so I'll be on Letterboxd. I'm not sure what's the next movie I'll write a review for. I'm curious to see what I'll turn around to. I'm sure it'll be something I obviously value highly. But yeah, that's about it for me. We'll go popcorn tie.
Oh, hey, what's up?
It's popcorn time.
Popcorn time. I got popcorn. Twitch.tv/Ultra Bajo. I don't want to spell it anymore. You guys can figure it out. Fine. It's long. And then Letterboxd, Twitter, and Instagram. It is Tyler Vidalis, Vidales.
Fantastic.
Popcorn Nathaniel.
Hello, everyone. You can find me on Letterboxd and Twitter at NSGingrich or on Instagram at NathanielG92. Please also go follow my other podcast and listen to it. That's at The Sandpiper Tapes on Instagram and at Sandpiper Tapes on Twitter for good, spooky, fun times.
Good, spooky, fun times.
Good,
yay.
Spooky, fun.
And then if you want to find me, I'm on Twitter. I'm at amschwartzy. The same for my Letterboxd, and I'm on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/AYYSH. Please go follow me there. playing some video games sometimes when I can. All right. Well, I think that's gonna be it for our little compare and contrast. This was fun. I liked this.
It was a good time.
Yeah, the second episodes are always dope. Just kind of get something a little lighthearted.
A little more off the cuff, a little more.
My brain is fried right now, though, fellas. I'm not.
Agreed.
I feel like it's like
been a
falling
solid
out of my eyes.
It's been a solid almost 4 hours of. So yeah, I think we're all about ready. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week for The Shining. We'll BRB.
Be excellent to each other. We'll BRB.
Go watch something scary. Let us know what you watched. BRB.
And last but not least, everybody stay safe. Have a great week. Stay positive, and BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Do you think bears get the shits?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Do you think that actually takes time out of their day, or do you think they just carry on with their regular activity?
They just carry on.
Oh, they just carry on, man.
Yeah, they're fucking bears, bro.
Keep calm and carry on. That's what
They hibernate though. They make that big old like ass plug.
So when bears hibernate, you're saying they don't use the bathroom?
Yeah, no, it like shuts everything down. So they make like they like
big old ass plug.
They make it's like
that was actually funny as fuck.
Out of like trees and berries and stuff, so that it all packs up, and then when they come out of hibernation, they get constipated and shoot these cannonball ass plugs.
Can you imagine that shit though off of hibernation?
No,
it's gotta be next level.
Yeah, dude, your day's ruined as a human being, at least.
Bro, if you're a bear though, like you're just it. You're like the top predator on the planet, aren't you?
I think in some places, yeah. I think
what's taking down a bear?
I think in some places though, I could only imagine wolves being competitors to bears for prey, right? They might not necessarily hunt each other, but I think they would definitely kind of cross faces of trying to accomplish the same goal.
I definitely think a pack of wolves could do pretty well against a bear.
I don't know, man.
Same thing with a lion.
Well, I don't think lions and bears would really come across each other.
I'm just saying, if we're cage, if this is the Thunderdome,
there's a show.
Well, if we're cage matching, then the animal I'm taking is a gorilla every time.
A gorilla gets a bear? Yeah. I don't think so, man.
Dude, we had this conversation before. Dude, gorillas are so strong. I don't care what a bear is doing.
It's a bear,
and they can pick up things as weapons. Like that's a very underrated thing that people do.
And they're just way more coordinated than a bear. Like they're gonna be way faster.
I think dude,
I just don't think it's gonna happen. I don't see it happening.
The brute force of a gorilla. I mean, bears are huge. Bears are huge.
The bear probably has.
But so are gorillas. These things are 500 pounds, man.
Dude, I think the most the gorilla could do to a bear is break its jaw. But then I think in the end, the bear corners the gorilla and just fucking swats it to death.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that the gorilla's claw, or excuse me, the bear's claws are definitely a problem for the gorilla, right? Where they don't have natural skin.
And I don't think it can like choke it out. And it's like their heads are so strong. Like people have shot them in the head before. And like it's just not done anything. I just don't see the gorilla doing damage to the bear.
Yeah, the bear is a formidable foe for sure.
I don't know. All you have to do is knock that bear down. Oh, Jirac.
He's not interested in the conversation.
He's heard us talking shit about
He will not stand for this bear slander.
You heard us talking about bears and get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I think I'm just putting my stake on that a gorilla could use a weapon, right? If possible.
But like I'm talking like a grizzly.
Even then, man.
I'm talking like a grizzly.
I don't care.
Or a polar bear. I don't know, like a black bear.
A polar bear wouldn't have a chance. A polar bear.
All I'm saying,
I would pick a polar bear probably over almost any land predator. I would.
That's
say.
What I'm saying. Like a polar bear is kind of it, right? Like
a polar bear probably has 800 pounds on a grizzly.
I thought grizzlies are like the same size. I thought they're the biggest bears.
No, I think polar bears
I would
are
bet a
bigger.
polar bear's got
Alright,
a
okay.
handful of weight on a grizzly, and height,
Really?
length, and everything for sure.
Let's find out. I'm googling this.
Just off their primary habitat being the cold and a cold climate. That's like the same reason why tigers are so big. I forgot what
really? That's what it is. That's why
there's
why,
some I forgot what
tigers
the
are so
correct
big is
equation
just 'cause-
is, but it's like the closer you are to the equator, you're usually smaller because you have a larger heat source where you don't have to conserve
sick.
heat. I can't think of what the term is.
All right, you guys are definitely right. It's definitely polar bears.
What's the size of a polar bear by chance? I'm just curious.
It's fucking big. Hold on, I gotta maximize my screen here.
Anywhere from 900 to 1,500 pounds.
What's a grizzly?
Heaviest on record is 2210.
Oh my god!
Average length
really big. Yeah.
Average length is 8 to 8.5.
Just look at him standing next to him.
The next biggest is a brown bear.
Yeah, it says grizzly bear is like a big male would be like 600 pounds.
Bro,
So yeah,
but
polar
do you
bear
remember
is
have you heard about
stomping on that thing.
the short-nosed bear that used to be around?
I have not.
Dude,
Is that an extinct species?
Yeah,
That sounds
hold
right.
on.
Okay, yeah.
Short-faced bear. That's what it is.
Mhm.
This thing was like bigger than a polar bear, but ran like a cheetah.
Can you imagine like the shit caveman had to deal with? Like
Just
on a
nightmare
day-to-day basis?
stuff.
That's fucking insane, dude. Not only do you have like human problems of like friendships and relationships, you know what I mean?
You just got
But then-
crazy ass animal.
Yeah, and then you go
Gotta
outside and there's
kick your ass
literally
all the time.
a polar bear that runs as fast as a cheetah outside. That's terrifying. And you have a stick to protect yourself. That's
Just want to
crazy.
throw up.
1/3 of them weighed about
So on a-
900.
Bro, I think you guys are still
Animal
sleeping
cage
on.
match.
You guys are still sleeping on this gorilla, man.
I'm telling you, Adam, I'm with you,
Bro,
dude.
even if he
Like,
has
you're
his
insane.
claws-
It's
the claws
a
are-
do you
bear.
know how
It's a
much
bear
force
1,000
that
times.
gorilla can generate?
I do not
Yeah.
think you are getting into your mind the size and strength of a bear.
Yeah.
I don't
Bro.
think you're getting into your mind the size and strength of a gorilla.
Well, how
I've
much
seen
do
gorillas.
Li-
They're not
listen,
that
listen,
big.
listen,
How
listen,
much
listen.
is
I'll
it?
tell you right now. The largest living primate is the eastern lowland gorilla, standing up to 6.6 feet and weighing at 550.
That's
that's pretty
insane.
big. Yeah, 550 is pretty big.
6 feet, 6.6.
Especially-
and
and-
Bro,
Let me
you're
say
talking
this,
about a
50.
1,500 pound bear that stands at 8'8".
Right.
Yeah, you're fucking.
My next
crazy.
question was going to be what type of bear is this gorilla going against? If it's a polar bear, I'm not betting on the gorilla at all.
I'm thinking grizzly. Grizzly is where I'm at, and I'm comfortable with grizzly. If it's a polar
I
bear,
think it'd be close.
Polar bear fucks it all up.
For sure.
Polar
for
bear,
sure.
polar
for
bear,
sure.
like I said, polar bear, I think is the scariest thing on the planet. Like,
Yeah.
it just
I
is,
said I would
right?
take that probably almost over
They
any.
eat their own fucking babies, dude. They don't give a fuck.
All right, but listen to this.
Oh no.
All right, the largest short-faced bear was 2,110 pounds. It was a 14 feet vertical arm reach, and it
Come
stood
on.
11 to 12 feet tall.
Come on. All I heard was the 14-foot vertical arm. That's disgusting. I don't want to battle anything that has a 14-foot arm.
They're up to 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
But it was able to run at speeds of 50 to 70 kilometers per hour or 30 to 40 miles per hour.
No thanks.
Good night.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
All right, this has been Bear Talk with the boys. Back Row Banter Bear Talk.
Yeah, join us next week for the next animal caged fight, right? 1v1. We'll pair
Let us know what animals you think we would
let us know.
want to fight.
We'll do anything. We'll do squirrels, chipmunks, skunks, to anything larger. We'll do sharks, crocodiles,
It's
birds,
UFC,
whatever you guys want to do.
Champion.
Megalodon, apex predator.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that's the other thing.
Do you think you're taking anything over that before
Maybe
we jump onto the movie?
Like,
Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, unless there's some sort of like,
You guys wouldn't take Jason Statham over the Megalodon?
unless there's like some sort of like crazy fast whale. Because aren't whales the only thing that like hunt sharks and shit?
Well, killer whales do hunt great white sharks.
Yeah, that's
That's one of their primary food sources.
Yeah, so like maybe just like some like crazy version of that and out there. That
Yeah,
might be,
I'm
like,
sure
the
there
only
was
thing I
at
would
one
say.
point. Yeah, I'm sure there was.
But Megalodon's got to be up there, right? That or like maybe some crazy crocodile.
Yeah, and actually, fun story on crocodiles. I think those are, to date, I think those are still the most identical to a prehistoric creature we have on Earth right now. Is a
Like, they're
crocodile.
the
A
closest to,
crocodilian,
like-
I think, is their actual species.
So that would imply that they are the best predator then. If they're the thing that's like closest to what they've always been.
Correct. Yeah. So they didn't really have to evolve much, to your point.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like their method of
Nothing. Yeah, nothing's
consumption
taking
and
them out
living.
basically.
Exactly.
Yo,
Exactly.
check your Instagrams.
Is it gonna be me and my double chin?
Nah.
What is that?
Let's see. A polar bear. Yeah. Ooh.
Bro, it's got the head
Adult
of
polar
another
bear
polar
carrying
bear.
the head of a recently killed polar bear cub.
Bro.
This page is actually great, by the way. Nature is
Oh, I
Metal.
love
If
it.
you guys
Nature's
don't
Metal?
follow that
Yeah,
page,
dude.
yeah.
I'm gonna follow it right now.
Dude,
they
it's
had-
Nature's Metal
gnarly.
is nasty.
They had a clip today of a guy coming across Big Cat Blake. They had the guy coming across a guy. A
Oh, the
cougar.
lynx and the rattlesnake?
Well, yeah, I saw that the other day. The lynx
Yeah.
and the rattlesnakes. Today, there was a guy on a trail and he came across a cougar cub, and the mom was like in the background,
Fuck
and the mom
that.
saw him and
Those
started
things
running at him,
bad.
and he recorded the
No.
whole encounter. And yeah, so he never turned his
Oh
back to the cougar.
no!
So it didn't really.
Adam
attack
is
him.
Wait.
losing his shit right now, bro.
Yeah,
Did you see this thing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Goat.
that's a really
Oh
famous
man!
one, Adam.
dude,
That's like-
Adam, if
They
you
have
think
like
that,
t-shirts off that.
yeah, if you think that is bad, dude, like there's honestly some clips in here of it's usually of like predators feeding. Honestly, it's usually of cats.
It's on
And that-
zebras and shit. Where they're just
Yeah,
walking
it's
around.
usually
I'm
of
Bro,
all right.
it's
I'm looking at the
so
claws.
bad.
I'm looking at the claws in this bear, and I'm reconsidering my position a little bit, just a little bit.
yeah.
Fucks up
Um,
that gorilla.
Those are some 4-inch claws, man.
It's one swat, bro, and its neck is
done.
sideways.
Like I said, the gorilla's skin is going to be tough or something like that.
Yeah,
But
it is,
That
dude.
page
It's
is
crazy.
I don't know
that
about
page
one
opens
swipe.
you up so
I'm
much.
saying all this bear or all this fucking gorilla has to do is just fucking charge and then get on its back, and it's smashing,
then
bro.
what?
It's smashing. It's Hulk smashing.
I don't know, man.
I
It's
think
insane.
Adam
It's
I think
going
Adam
like thi-
envisions
Look
how a
at-
gorilla would
look
fight
up
is
a
like
bear
literally
skull.
how King Kong fights in movies. And like
Basically,
Skull
yeah.
Island.
a little bit.
Look up a bear skull and just
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, I think I would say this to
Oh,
leave
God.
it at a final
Now
statement.
I'm watching a zebra get its innards ripped out.
yeah.
I think
Bro,
if they were
you
in
gotta
a
have
cage,
volume on, bro. So that
Yeah.
it makes oh
Wild.
man.
Yeah, I think if they were in a cage, guys, I think a bear would certainly win, right? If they're in a confined space, I think if they were actually in a wild setting, I do think a gorilla would probably win.
Man, I don't know.
But
I don't know.
yeah, it's tough. But that page though opened you up so much to nature. It's
Oh, dude, it's
It's
great.
I don't know why. I think it's just our how we've been conditioned as humans. You think animals kill and then feed, and you realize once you start watching nature, like they don't kill then feed. It's literally you start feeding once it's able to be ate. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like the animals are still alive and they're being eaten alive, like from insides out. Because there's literally no time in the animal kingdom to actually try to secure a kill. It's like, hey, once this thing's down, we just got to eat because there's no telling the next time we'll be able to eat. And it's so fucking crazy watching the videos in there, dude, of like zebras and stuff, like literally getting like their stomachs ripped out as they're still running.
Or
You know what I mean?
they've like
It is.
survived and they're like just like one leg is just a skeleton or some shit.
Yeah, and yeah, it shows you that. It shows you the bare minimum of like what your raw fight versus flight response is and stuff like that. Like animals are, it's so minimal, their interactions, you know what I mean? It's crazy to see because you're just it's like you're, as a human, you can't fathom that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that shit is that page is crazy, dude. Some things are actually, it's actually hard to watch some things.
Fuck. Man.
It's like,
but you can scroll on that page
or
forever,
like
dude.
Discovery. I bet you scroll through all of it tonight.
Yeah, that's what I'll say. You could easily go on that page,
dude,
Adam, and it'll be 2 hours, and you're like, "Holy shit, I'm still on this page."
Addicting as shit.
Yeah,
and then like
goat,
they post
man,
every day.
Goat, man. Dude, imagine being that goat and that shit just slowly like pushing into your cheek.
Wow.
Yeah,
and then eventually it penetrates your.
one.
What a fucking awful way to die.
yeah.
Break it off, dude.
Well, guys, it can't be much worse to die that opposed to somebody coming to your house, knocking on your door, asking for somebody who's there who doesn't live there, and then you tell them they don't live there, and they still come back and kill you. So
yeah, we got to get into this.
With that, let's jump into the strangers.
We do.